Breakthrough seasons under Unai Emery generally come after the player has worked with him for a little bit of time. Case in point, Morgan Rogers went from a Middlesbrough player that scored 1 goal, I think in 16 league games for Middlesbrough, or 20, before we picked him up. Had a decent, first few months at the Villa, didn't start straight away, and now last season was up for Young Player of the Year. Youri Tielemans barely got a sniff in his first season under Unai Emery, went on to be our Player of the Season last year. So with all that in mind, I popped this poll up on my Twitter. It is Rogers Reports _. Go ahead and follow me. I'll put the link in the description for more polls like this that will get used in these videos. And actually this one got 115, quick zombie shout out there for any Call of Duty fans, votes from Aston Villa legends that wanted to be involved. And the breakdown was like this. I picked our 4 main signings, well, our only 4 permanent signings really, from last season, and said that now they've had a season and a pre-season under Unai Emery, who will make the biggest impact in the Premier League this season? Who will be our breakout star from our 24-25 crop of new signings? And as you can see, the voting was pretty unanimous. With 50% of the 115 votes that we got, it was Donyell Malen. But we're going to be going through all 4 of these players today and assessing their ability and their capability of being a breakout star and almost like a new signing for Aston Villa this season. So if you're enjoying the content, leave a like on the video, subscribe down below. We are up there somewhere. Look how close we are to 4,000 subscribers, and that is only possible with the support and help of you guys. So please do go down, do all the good clicky clicks down below, comment your thoughts as well on who will be our breakout star. But let's get into looking at how these guys done last season and where I think their potential for growth within an Unai Emery team and system is. Off with the winner of the poll. Who else could we kick it off with? Donyell Malen. He should be now within the 3 or 4 prime seasons of his career. 26, 27, 28, 29. Boom. 3 seasons you've probably got there. A good 3 seasons. I know it's 4 years, but 3 seasons worth of prime Donyell Malen, and we have to take advantage of it. And I'll splice the clips above me talking now before we start going through his stats. He did just get 2 assists in our first America pre-season game for Aston Villa. If you haven't seen that video, it is the last video on the channel, so go and check that one out. But another one signed in January, but didn't really get much game time under Unai Emery. We've seen Emery do this so much. I use Youri Tielemans because he's the most perfect example. Really couldn't get a sniff under Unai Emery when we had that Douglas Luiz and Kamara midfield. Waited his time, probably was a bit fed up, and then became our most important stalwart player of the season. Plays every minute unless he's injured type player. And that's because Emery likes to bed players in. Emery, we all know he's a freak when it comes to just working with players, working on his tactics, watching the video with the players, and getting them to play exactly how he wants them to play. That's why I think these 4 could be really important. With Emery, you kind of have to sign a player and then let him marinate and then bring him in. Do you know what I mean? It's really weird, but hey, it works because look how we're doing in the Premier League the last few seasons with him. But last season, like I say, only managed 2 starts out of 14 games, getting the 3 goals and no assists as well. We look across here, the 3 games in the FA Cup as well, not getting a goal involvement. So overall, you think 17 games, 3 goals, no assists. Why on earth did we sign him? Look at some of those seasons for Borussia Dortmund and PSV Eindhoven though. But if we go down here, we go to the Premier League last season again, you're going to see his stats are nothing to be ogled at, nothing to be glazed. But then you go to his per 90s and hold up, are we looking at Donyell Malen or are we looking at John Duran? Because 100th percentile for goals per 90, obviously that wouldn't be 100th percentile if John Duran was there because I think he was averaging over a goal per 90. But still, nearly a goal per 90 minutes played. His expected goals per 90 put him in the top 2.5%. His XG on target, top 100th percentile. Shots on target, top 100th percentile. Does need to work on his passing, but he's just gone and got 2 assists for Villa in pre-season, so we're happy with that. Chances created, need to bring that up a little bit. Pass actually bring that up a little bit, but actually touches in the opposition box, very decent. His successful dribbles needs to bring that up a lot. But look at this, getting stuck in. We know Emery likes his wingers to track back, get stuck in. One of the main gripes I assume he would have had over the seasons with Leon Bailey. Perhaps he can be a bit lackadaisical in his defensive effort. But when you have Cash bombing up and down the wing, do you need it? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, winning a lot of tackles, winning a lot of duels, and a lot of aerial duels as well for the club. Very, very good. We go across to the second place finisher in the poll, Ian Maatsen. Now, did start to get a lot more game time towards the end of last season. We signed him for a lot of money. Again, similarly to Donyell Malen. Donyell Malen's on like 180 grand a week, so we're going to have to start using him. But Maatsen did get a lot more playing time towards the end of the season. Still only 23 years of age. Did manage a goal. Great goal, by the way, as well it was. And 2 assists in the Premier League last season. 29 games. So did play like and played 45 games overall. He was pretty much our preferred Champions League left-back for the entire campaign. But did manage only 10 starts in that time as well. So we go down and we actually see, despite only getting the 10 starts, his assist puts him in good stead for his position. His accurate long balls puts him right at the top. The amount of chances he created for his teammates actually puts him right up the top of those charts. 95th, 0.7th percentile and 3 successful crosses. Need to bring that rate up. Why can no one cross the ball, successfully? And as well, defensively, won 100% of his tackles, won 4 tackles, made 5 interceptions, 27 recoveries of the ball, and 1 possession in the final third 6 times. Obviously, didn't play that many minutes, so we go to his per 90s, and again, all of these stats very, very good. The tackle stats very decent, especially that possession 1 in the final third, and we know that Maatsen does play high up the pitch. So again, really, really promising signs. Now, the only thing that maybe slightly offsets Maatsen having a breakthrough season is that we're about to enter contract talks with Luca Digne. So we'll see how that one develops. Now, here is one of my personal favourites, Amadou Onana. And why is he one of my personal favourites, you may ask? Well, it is that right there. 195 centimetres tall. This guy can run the entire length of the pitch in about 4 footsteps. It's like watching, and for any basketball fans, actually, the Wes Edens owned Milwaukee Bucks over in America have a certain Giannis Antetokounmpo, and there's a couple of videos of him. If I can find them, I'll chuck them up on the screen, where he runs the whole basketball court in about 4 footsteps. That is what it's like watching Amadou Onana play football. Only 23 years of age, potential off of the charts. Can you imagine a midfield diamond of him, Tielemans and Kamara? Oh my god, it doesn't even bear thinking about. Last season, only managed 26 games. Injuries have been a concern for me. Even before we signed him, you look here, he doesn't really ever manage that many games. But did also get 5 games in the Champions League. Got those 3 goals, including that absolute thunder blaster against Newcastle when we beat them 4-1 as well. If we go and look at his Premier League stats, you will see the goals put him again in pretty good stead. He could do a little bit more with the ball at his feet. But to be fair, 87% pass accuracy, it's not too bad at all. 82.4% dribble success. When this guy gets going, forget about it. Forget it. You ain't getting the ball off of him. Just let him glide past you and get into the 18-yard box with 1 stride, mate. I think the game where he epitomised this the best was Bournemouth. If you go back and watch the Bournemouth highlights when we beat him 1-0. Onana was unplayable on that day, and that tackling, that defensive side of his game, we know he's really, really good at it. 62.7% duels won, 61% as well. And again, another first-time signing. Didn't particularly get the most minutes, so we look at the per 90s, see how they put him in terms of his stead, and you can see those defensive contributions per 90. Very, very nice. And then the last one got disrespected in the poll a little bit for my liking, because I think he's a really, really good player, and that is Andres Garcia. Came out of nowhere, signed from Levante, from the Segunda Division over in La Liga, the Spanish Second League. 183 centimetres tall, only 22 years of age. Barely managed any game time for Villa last season. I think he got those 3 in the FA Cup, right? Yeah, 3 in the FA Cup. 7 games, 5 starts. We're now, Aston Villa have been looking for a new right back, allegedly, for about 4 seasons now. Doesn't look like we're going to sign one. Doesn't look like we're going to sign anyone. So perhaps Andres Garcia, he is injured, so he's missing out on that USA pre-tour. But perhaps he could be the one for Villa next season, maybe getting a bit more game time when Matty Cash inevitably messes up. Last season, despite his limited game time, however, though, a 27.8% cross accuracy, which I would hazard a guess was probably the highest for Aston Villa last season. A 50% long ball accuracy and a 92.4% pass accuracy. Very, very good. Need to work slightly on that defensive contributions, successful dribbles as well. But there's definitely, we look here, expected assists per 90 put him nearly in the top 20th percentile for that. His successful crosses per 90 put him in the top 10th. His successful dribbles per 90 actually puts him in the top 10th percentile as well. Same as his blocks, possession won in the final third. We know our fullbacks push up high. There's a player in Andres Garcia. Could it be unlocked? But ultimately, we need to figure out where these 4 players fit in to the team. Now, I think the Villa could line up, based on the signings that we haven't made, could line up something like this next season. Now, there's all the speculation. Romando Schmidt, I think is his name, is the latest one. The Garnacho talk will never go away. João Felix is luckily going to Al Nassr, so we don't have to worry about being linked with him for like the 8th season in a row. But we could line up something like this. So where do the players fit in? Well, ultimately, a couple are pretty easy, right? Garcia just comes in there and takes over from Matty Cash. And similarly with Maatsen, he just comes in there and takes straight over from Luca Digne. Now, in the middle is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because do you drop Kamara, one of our best players over the past couple of seasons, one of the only players over the past couple of seasons, maybe bar McGinn, Watkins and Konsa, and Martinez obviously, that has just kept their position no matter what. If they're fit, they're on the team sheet, they're never really on the bench. And he's just signed that new bumper 5-year deal to make him the highest paid player at Aston Villa. You would imagine if there's a chance for him to start, he will bloody be starting. And then you have Tielemans, who was our player of the season last year. Clearly, he is not going to get dropped either. So you'd imagine that Tielemans will do that and go into that number 10 role. He did do that last season. And for some reason, we end up with a scenario where Super John McGinn, our captain, possibly loses out. But then he could come in and do that role as well that we saw him do last season. So that's how you get Onana in there as well. Now, Malen, again, Rodgers, are you going to drop Rodgers? Probably our second best player of the year last season. Well, we've already seen it now in pre-season where Rodgers and Malen can fit in. And again, it is possibly John McGinn that does get dropped from that starting lineup. And Malen takes up that position on the right. Yuri Tielemans in behind Ollie Watkins. And then Rodgers out on the left-hand side. And that is how you get all 4 of them in the team. Now, will all 4 of them get in the team? I doubt it. I think the more likely scenario is perhaps Garcia does have to drop for cash. We know that Digne is going to be in those contract talks for a new deal. So perhaps it's just Onana and Malen. I'll be happy with those two being the 2 that are pushed earlier on in the season. I think Maatsen will have his part to play. Garcia, it will all depend on Unai Emery's assessment of him as a player. But we did let Kostan Nedeljkovic go out on loan again because he's not in the plans for the first team. So you'd imagine that Garcia actually pretty soundly is. I can't imagine Tristan Rowe getting in there just yet. And you know what? Especially Malen, he could feel like a brand new signing if he kicks on this season, because we barely got to see him in a Villa shirt last year. And anytime he did play, he looked really, really good. I think Tielemans in that 10 might be secured and locked down. I think the only other thing we'd do is move Rodgers in there and put JJ out wide. Yes, we've been linked with this Schmidt guy from, I think it might be Werder Bremen or someone like that. Wolfsburg maybe, over in the Bundesliga. Again, one number 10 that we've been linked with. But I think that slot might be Tielemans. But that is just my opinion. One man sat in an office room in a house somewhere on this planet about who could be our breakout star for next season from the crop of freshly signed talent from last year. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Please do let me know what you think. As always, I'll see you guys soon. Up the Villa.